2045 belt score. I'm gonna pull it off. And there you go. I made him fight for it. So, welcome to this episode. I'm going to actually review playing Street Fighter online. I actually played Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Edition, and I kind of want to go over what type of fighter I am, and also kind of funny moments when it comes to playing the computer versus playing people online, and there's weird events that happened while I was playing. So, cutting over to the screen right now. And this is pre-recorded. I have somewhat of a strategy when it comes to Rio, and I can pull out a super like crazy. Now this guy's got 33 wins right now. I'm Magnus 547, obviously, but the other guy is Awesome 20. So when I pull out a super, I can pull it out of left field with Rio. And Rio was kind of my go-to character. So for this whole thing, you'll see me use Rio. And he's using Akuma or Goki in Japan. So if you look, I'm like totally like, all right, I don't know how well I'm gonna do. Let me like chance it. But the other thing is that this guy had some pretty horrible lag on his end. I'm wired internet connection, so I knew that at least for the most part I would be good. But here we go. He's like slaughtering me or taking advantage, but I'm still trying to hang in there, come by, study his moves. He messed up. Did you see that? He was like, boom, messed up. So, round 2, I'm already thinking like, okay, this guy's not as good as I thought he was. And I pulled out his Shin Shoryuken a little too early. And I'm like, dang, now I got no super. Let me just clobber him. Now, the way I fight with like Street Fighter is that I like to study my opponent and then kind of change up my game. And I'm a power hitter. I'll do combos, but I'm gonna do some pretty heavy combos that are gonna sap damage. And that last movement, I was just like, get out of here. I just tossed him because I'm like, you may have 33 wins and whatever, but obviously your score of 75, I should have looked at that. My belt score is like 160. I'm not the greatest either, but I'm like, that should have been like pretty much a no-brainer. Like this video if anyone's ever done that to you. So from this, boom, someone just popped in the corner, and like, it's not the same. Belt score 10. This quack guy, 2 victories, belt score 10. Right when I started this fight, I'm like, alright, this is not going to be hard. And then seeing Chun-li, I'm like, Chun-li's picked, huh? Reminds me of that one Street Fighter match where you saw Chun-li really take it to Ken, and then Ken kind of countered all of those strikes and won the match. So I hope I referenced that. Now. So match starts. I'm not even worried. I'm like, this guy's got 2 victories. So again, I'm like, let me play my distance game a little bit so I can study how he fights. And I'm like, okay. So he or she, this quack, fights with. Oh, did you see that? This quack fights with like fast kicks and special moves. Just watch out for those fast kicks from Chun-li, and then you just got this. There I go again with using my super, trying to like get it off. But for me, if I'm trying to combo the super, I'm like gonna do it all the way, even if they block it, because at the very least you could chip damage them, and you're gonna get hit anyway. So I'm kind of like, just do it. But I didn't want to use it that time. So finish them off pretty quickly. So right now I'm kind of like, what are you seriously gonna do that kick all the time? And then that's when I'm like, nope, I am aggressive. And then he backed me off with his kicks a little bit. I'm like, hey, alright. But I'm still like playing the aggressor. Like, I'm not scared of losing this match. Even though I was pretty weak, I'm like, I wasn't scared. And I didn't pull off a super because I didn't need to. I'm like, this guy's done. No, I'm not that good. I am probably, I don't believe I'm good enough to join a tournament. I'm not good enough for that sense. Let me brighten the light here. but I gotta beat him early before I get challenged. And I got challenged again. Here we go. It's Quack again. Quack has challenged me again. At this point, I'm thinking like, he knows me. I'm not concerned. He's gonna pick Chun-li again. I'm gonna pick Shin Shoryuken with Ryo, and it's gonna be another easy match. Because at this point, once I study your combat style in Street Fighter, it's like, I got this. So he was changing it up a little bit with different moves, but for the most part, it was not a challenge. I'm like, alright, I'm gonna finish this guy. I wanted somebody in my belt score a little bit to give me a challenge, because when someone has a way of fighting that is not just using the same moves over and over again, like I don't know if you've ever had this. Yeah, and again, this guy no challenge. But there are certain fighters in Street Fighter, and I learned this playing Xbox Live Street Fighter, like the 15th anniversary edition. I learned that there are certain fighters that you can pick that if you do the same 2 or 3 combos or patterns, and you have the same similar counters for moves that people pick, you can basically win the match doing the same thing. And those fighters, at first, they overwhelm me because I'm like, they're countering everything I'm doing. But I eventually learned their tactics, and I'm like, oh. And those fighters, they might still win, but when I eventually learn their tactics enough times, I'm like, I know how to beat you better. And I get interrupted. And it's Quack again. I'm like, again? We're gonna have to fight Chun-li again? Come on, dude. So I'm like, let's go. And he picks Chun-li again. I'm like, is he thinking? Oh, but we switched backgrounds. That switched it up a little bit. I thought I was gonna get a real Chun-li who can fight better, but it looks like he was starting to switch it up a little bit. Starting to sweep me a little bit. It's like, oh, he switched up his game. He's still doing those kicks, but he's playing a little smarter. Ooh, and he did a special on me. I did not expect that. Like, he was starting to surprise me, and I'm like, oh, those. Ooh, and he finished me off because I sweeped. I'm like, let me sweep that kick, but I was too close, and he hit me. So I'm like, this is not going well. Not going well at all. And then he's starting off with like pounding me. Then I miss my super. Now I'm angry. Now I'm like, oh hell no. You when you get me angry, I tend to just come out, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be smart. See, I sweeped, I waited, and I'm like, am I farther enough? And I'm like, yes I am. Now I'm just like countering. Now I'm like, I know what you're doing. You're doing those creative sweeps. You're trying to, and then when I flipped it on him, he starts like, oh no, I'm playing defensive. And that's kind of like the challenge there. It's like, how do you react to that? See, he's laying low because now he's planning his attacks and still wants to lean on going low. And that's when I struck like a viper. Like, boom. Nope. Play that again. That's when I struck like a viper, because I needed to end that. I needed to end like all of this, like thinking he'd be actually a challenge. He was pretty good. I mean, the fact that he was able to switch it up, but he was still leaning on the same things, which is like similar patterns. I'm gonna lean on the sweep, lean on the sweep. It's like, no, adapt, surprise me, do different things. I was trying to adapt as much as possible and just kind of read his moves. So now his belt score is 0. I guess when you lose matches, and I didn't realize this, when you lose matches, your belt score drops when you get challenged before. And there it goes. I got a fighter all over again. But Eat Standing, that's who I'm facing. Magnus 547 versus Eat Standing. And he's picking Sean. Now Sean is a good fighter. Sean is one of those fighters that is creative with their fighting style, but very similar to Ryu and Ken. But his version of all the moves is really cool, and he does like pretty good kicks and pretty good just pretty good moves all around. So I'm kind of like intimidated, but I saw his belt score, which was not that impressive, but I'm like, those who know how to use Shun, you never know when they're gonna come out. So I'm just kind of like wondering what he's gonna do. And Sean's like specific hurricane kick, I almost anticipate it all the time because it comes out of nowhere. And that kick too. But I'm because I'm anticipating those moves, I'm kind of planting myself low and just kind of like time it right. And I didn't use my super because I'm like, no. Only use it when you need it. See, like those kicks are pretty good. His uppercut punch is pretty good. But I'm noticing right here, he's being sloppy, and then I got a little bit cocky with that. But then I threw him. I'm like, if he don't throw me, I'm gonna throw him. But then he got me with this throw here. And he got me another throw. He's like, I'm gonna take advantage and be quick. And at that point, I'm kind of getting angry. I'm like, hell no. Hell no. I'm kind of mad at this point. Because I'm like, he's getting cocky. So I'm a little bit on the offensive here. Then I'm like, this guy's done. Now I'm getting cocky, but I'm like, this guy's done. Right there, I threw a fireball. He went to low attack. So we both hit each other, and I won. It's a good match, but at the same time, like, he got me a little bit angry. So I was like, no. And every time I ask, do I want a rematch? I put yes, I do want a rematch, and then it just doesn't happen. Challenged. Oh no! Tell me I got, and it's Quack again. Tell me we got past chun-li. So close. All right, Quack is there. I'm picking Ryu again, and now he's picking Ken. So I was like, oh, he's switching it up. Ken. Alright, let's do this. Let's see if he's any better with Ken. So, again, he did recognizable patterns with Chun-li. And with Ryu, I'm like, nope. And then he's hitting me again, but he's doing a lot of hurricane kicks, so I'm like, this guy wants the hurricane kick? Nope. Oh, he almost caught me with that. I do a nice sweep and then another uppercut punch. Again, watching where he's going. So round two, I'm like, all right, he's not as good as I thought, and I used my super by mistake. That point, I'm mad again. So here comes my aggression. I'm like, no, hell no. So I just start stomping him. I just came after him with these hard punches, with hard hits. Switching it up from top to mid hit to down hit constantly, and just basically Quack is a 0 belt score thanks to me. Bonus stage, and here comes a new challenge. Eat standing again. Eat standing. So Eat standing picked, I think he picked Akuma before, if I'm not mistaken. So he's doing Akuma again. So now this will be a good fight. So my thought was like, okay, I could take him. He's not that talented, but we'll see what he does with Akuma. And already he's losing to me, but he seems to be timing himself. And now he's being a lot more aggressive, throwing out powerful fireballs, teleporting, getting his moves in, and I'm like, not realizing he's doing as much damage as he is until this point, and I'm like, whoa, what happened? And then I went hard on him in the corner, and he had an opportunity to take me out there, and he didn't. So now he's losing, and then that knocks me over, and I'm like, oh man, boom, I try a sweep, and he gets me quickly. That was close, but he got that victory. He earned that victory too. So now round two, I'm realizing I lost. I can't lose again. This guy's pretty quick, pretty tricky, and I'm like, okay, slow it down. This is when I start to slow it down. No anger. It's more like learn what he's doing and counter it. So I countered, he got too close to me, I threw him. again, try to move quickly, plan around what he's doing, realize that he's probably setting me up. I took that block, threw him there. I took that block because I knew that was going to be something. And now I'm like, okay, now a little bit of aggressor here. Careful with those sweeps. If I'm too close, I'm in trouble. And he's still playing teleporting, and I did that awesome jump kick, like that awesome that just clears the screen, because you don't expect it to hit or even reach me, because I was like without jumping distance. And I did it again there just to start off this round. So now I'm coming pretty aggressive. Now I'm like, all right, dude, you proved you're a challenge. But he's now got me in the corner, so he's like pretty much has me where he wants me. Now I'm trying to work against the corner, and I use my super, but that screwed me up. And now he's put himself in the corner, but he tricked me, and he gets a super off on me. So now it's pretty much down to the wire. And I took that fireball because I knew he'd be vulnerable, and I purposely took that shot to get that sweep in. That was close. But once again, got my belt score up, knocked his belt score down. That was close. I was like, whoa. At that point, I was a good match because he separated. And thank goodness I could do the card. Didn't have to fight chun-li again. And right when I finish him off, I get this. And now it's Minister 326. His belt score was ridiculous. It was over 1,000. He's got over 500 victories, and he's using Dudley. Dudley is an amazing, amazing fighter. Amazing.
Into the heat of battle. Go for it.
If you know how to, first of all, I don't recognize Dudley's moves for the most part, because again, I was mostly Street Fighter 2. But one thing I do know, he's like this game's Balrog, but so much faster and so much more finesse. And combos galore that can destroy you. So I was like, and with this guy's record, I'm like, this guy's gonna destroy me. And I can tell that he uses pretty much similar fight patterns. And he took me out. I had no chance. No chance. And I knew round 2 I would have no chance at all. Because, again, similar fight patterns, he knows how to parry very well. And he's just pulling off these combos that I'm like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? And he, at this point, I'm like, I'm going to lose. But if I'm going to lose, I'm going to pull it off. And there you go. I made him fight for it. So now I'm like, do I have a chance? And he knocks me. I'm like, I still got a chance. But I don't even know what happened there or how he hit me. I was blocking and he still got me. So I was like, all right. Fun for me. But he was, oh no. Challenge me. 2045 belt score. It's Minister 326 again. I get another chance. And he picks Aegis. Ooh, Aegis can, I mean, Urian can be very, very tough. Alright, so I'm already like backing up on the defensive, but then I began on the offensive. I'm like, let me know what he's doing. But I'm like also offensive, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm stomping him. And then I'm realizing he did patterns with the other guy. Now he's doing patterns here. So he's just seems like a pattern fighter. And I beat him this round because I'm like, he's doing keep away and then close strikes. So I'm like, no, you're not going to do that to me, buddy. So he hits up and straight, and then of course he does quick strikes if he hits you. And he doesn't want me close to him. So I'm like, okay, nope, you're not going to pull this off on me. I know this pattern. And then now he's starting to be a little bit more aggressive to get me at a distance. And he's realizing I'm catching him. And I caught him. I caught him. When I do that move, forget about it. And at this point, I'm like, hell no, you're done. And I punched him with a right cross. And I won. That's all it took. I beat Minister 326. Took down his belt score. And at that point, I quit playing. I was like, I'm done. I beat a great player, and that's all I needed to feel justified. I got my revenge match, And that's why I think if you do these repetitive patterns with a good player, they'll be able to catch it and then just counter you. And you'll never be able to guess how they fight because they'll switch it up. Let me know what you guys think. Totally fun to relive the arcade fighting experience in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. As always, like, share, and see you guys next time on my channel. Bye-bye. And subscribe. See you later.